You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley, and this is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. You can give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can give me a call. Andrew Phegley at 386-736-3000, or you can come visit me at DeLand Dodge Jeep Ram. We're taking your calls as well. If you want to call us, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Ben Stout with me, Big Ben Stout, which I usually the way I say it, at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Got Roger Phipps as well at Night Bengal on Twitter, and you can find all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com. We're talking UCF sports, hence the name Knightline. Put two and two together there, and it comes out pretty good. We're talking UCF sports. We're talking, I guess, Ben, we need to start off with this basketball game. The tournament, really. There was, a couple stories in that tournament. South Florida, we beat them. The Cows, as we like to call them, 60-58. And then we got absolutely shellacked by Memphis, 85-69. And men's basketball is over right now. It's done, I believe. I don't think we're going to make it to the NIT or anything with what we have done this season.
Yeah, I would say there's basically that ship has sailed. We're not going to be a postseason team, which at the end of the day, when you say postseason, that it's a bit of a disappointment that we're not playing. We're probably not going to play in a postseason tournament. I think looking back on this team and kind of the makeup of them, I think, and myself included, I think we probably put a little bit too higher expectations on them for being a tournament team. They had a lot of depth. They have a lot of talent. I'll definitely apologize to the 2018-2019 team for even acknowledging in the beginning of this season that this team was the most talented UCF team that Dawkins has coached. Certainly don't think that that's true looking back on the season with the benefit of the hindsight. But that being said, had a really, as usually is the case, had a really hard fought game on Thursday night to start out the tournament against our rival in the Cows. They put up a lot of fight and were making some shots early that made that thing interesting. But I was encouraged by the way the team kind of closed the show down the stretch, especially Darius Perry hitting some big shots that we needed out of him in that game. And then a few other plays that were great down the stretch. Darius Johnson in particular with some clutch free throws down the stretch as well. But we were able to pull that one out. They had two shots, two chances. The Cows did at the end, where everybody in Night Nation had a little bit of a heart attack because they got two good looks. Unfortunately, or I should say, fortunately for us, they did not go in, and we were able to get past them 60-58, as you said. And then, as I said last week, I just wasn't expecting us to be able to beat Memphis at this time. Just the directions that the teams were going, UCF kind of limping into the tournament, and Memphis with all of that talent just kind of coming together towards the end of the season. And they really looked like a very, very strong team. And they showed it on Friday night. We were able to we got down huge early. I think it was like 5-26 early on. with like 10 minutes into the game, all of a sudden we're down by over 20 points and we haven't even scored more than 5 points yet. It was just a disaster of a start, especially against a team as big and as talented as them and as athletic as they are. But to our credit, we fought back. It was a 10-point game at halftime, but after halftime, it was down to a 3-point game. We got it down to, and unfortunately just couldn't have enough of a comeback against them. Jalen Duren is a top 10, top 5 NBA draft pick next year. He had 21 points and 20 rebounds for Memphis. They're just extremely athletic, and they're going to make some serious noise in the NCAA tournament. And so we just weren't able to get over the hump against a team like that in the conference tournament, especially since it's Memphis. Memphis is a team that we just historically haven't been able to take care of business against in the conference tournament. But, it's a disappointing season looking back on it. A lot of opportunities that we thought we were going to be able to prevail in and kind of build a resume towards March. And unfortunately, we just weren't able to get enough or really any, signature wins besides that Miami win at the beginning of the season. And you could argue the Michigan win towards the middle of the season, but really just kind of couldn't do enough in the end to build any type of resume going towards March. And unfortunately, we, got knocked out of the conference tournament by a familiar foe that is playing really well right now.
Yeah, Ben, going into the conference slate, we actually were in a decent position. We had that loss against Temple that kind of set the tone for this team for the rest of the season. Memphis, speaking about that game, Penny finally got his rotations figured out, and they got some injured players back, which really, really helped them out. From our standpoint, to me, the game, you mentioned the 20 rebounds. The game was really lost in Darren Green's shooting. He was one of 14 or something like that. One of 14,
2 for 14 from the field,
and 1 of 11 from behind the arc.
Yeah.
So you had that, and then we got out rebounded. They doubled us up on rebounds. So they ended up shooting 49% for the game, which is ridiculously good, and it's hard to beat any team that's doing that. But combine that with being out rebounded by 20 rebounds. They had over 40 rebounds to our 20. That spells disaster for any team playing. Doesn't matter how talented your team is or the other team. So we got beat on the glass, and that's really, really what hurt us. And if you're throwing up 14 shots and only making 2 of them, when you're talking about rebounds, defensive rebounds, that's gonna give the opposing team something to work with. So, going forward, it's going to be interesting to see how many people are left. There's a question on Darren Green. Is he going to come back, or is he going to try, with us kind of being in rebuilding mode next year, is he going to try to transfer out to another team? In basketball, it's a lot more prevalent. So it'll be interesting to see what the makeup of this team is going to be next year as well.
Alrighty, well, the positive note of the week, though, our women basketball team winning the American Championship, which was pretty cool. I don't know. I think that's the first time they've done that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. For the American, yes, they did. They doubled up. The first time since 1998, I believe, that they've actually won both the regular season in their conference and the conference tournament, but in any conference that they're in. But that's the first American championship, which is a really big deal. They just played awesome. Yeah,
very good on them. And we should see shortly what kind of a seed that they get going into the NCAA tournament, because obviously they will make that, and it should be a fairly good seed, I think.
They're talking 7 seed is what the rumor is right now, what they're projected for, which would be the highest seed that we've ever had in the tournament. It is a ranked team. However, for me, they really should be a 6 seed, but as long as we stay out of the 8 seed, we'll be in good shape, because that gives us the best opportunity to win those first rounds of games.
Okay.
Yeah, on the ladies' side, the first number 1 seeds, the top 4 seeds there, all the one line, obviously plays that 8-9 matchup in the second round, and just on the women's side, historically, with the exception of I think one time, those 1 seeds just don't lose until around the Elite 8 Final 4 time frame. So very top heavy when it comes to women's basketball. So as you said, Roger, being able to avoid that 8 seed or lower and being a 6 or 7 seed would certainly help them being on that side of the bracket with the 2 line.
Yeah, absolutely. And they did it with scoring defense, right? And, played the Cows in that final game. And really they pulled away in the fourth quarter because the Cows were actually ahead for much of that game. And, they were one of the top scoring offenses in the entire, not just the league, but all of the NCAA. So for them, they just clamped down and you just saw that they weren't going to lose. Diamond Battles was ferocious. That defense was ridiculous. They held them to, I believe, 5 points in the fourth quarter. And
six in the fourth, yeah.
And pushed it to a 45-53 win. So congratulations to the ladies. They've had a heck of a season. They're finally getting a little bit of respect towards the end of the season. And what they've accomplished is phenomenal. And Coach Abe, hats off to her combination of defense, and everybody talks about their conditioning. They just don't slow down and pull they can push a full court press the entire game, which says a lot about their conditioning and just their ability to play the game.
All right. Well, that will be good, going into the Big 12 for them as well. Just having this under their belt, for the next couple of years, good for them, a good spot for them to be in. And that's awesome for UCF to have another, American championship in the trophy box. Unlike, the Cows, because they have nothing in there. So not even their women could pull it off this year. So.
Once UConn left, they thought they were going to have it in the bag because it was always UConn and the Cows, right? And we made some noise towards the end there when UConn was departing. But now, they don't even get the benefit of UConn leaving, and they still leave with the empty trophy case. So
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll just say quickly, not only their defense, but they're so impressive. You mentioned their conditioning, Roger. It's fantastic. What I love about them beyond those two things, their defense and their conditioning, which is stellar, is how balanced they are on the offensive end as well. I mean, our basically all 5 positions get involved really well, but they involve the post extremely well with Massey Kaba and Destiny Thomas. Brittany Smith, of course, coming off the bench. They involve the post players really well, and then Diamond Battle just kind of runs the show on both ends of the floor. So just an impressive showing overall this season from the ladies. And I like how, not only are they great on defense and they're the most well-conditioned team that I've seen, but certainly really balanced on the offensive end, and they can get it done from multiple positions. So they're just an impressive team, and I think one that is going to be set up very well for the NCAA tournament. I would not be surprised if they make a serious run here.
That's good, yeah. So on ESPN.com, I'm looking at their women's bracketology thing, and they're saying possibly 7 seed and would play in Waco for the first game, and then Wichita after that. So that could be cool for them to do that. And we obviously wish them well. I don't know when that game is going to be, but we'll get that info to you as soon as, I guess today is Selection Sunday.
7 p.m.
Yeah, in a few hours it'll be coming out.
Awesome. Alrighty, we're going to take a break here, and we'll be back on Knightline tonight.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law. Ben, we were speaking in the commercial break, and you wanted to bring something up to talk about in this segment. Why don't you go ahead with that?
Yeah, real quick. I mean, we need to give her due. We've talked about her a lot on this program, and we will continue to do so as she goes along her career. But Renaya Jones, once again, was extremely impressive on the track this past weekend. 60-meter hurdles for the indoor NCAA Division I championships that happened this past weekend. She finished third in that race. She earned a first-team All-American now at the indoor for the indoor hurdles, and she's already got first-team All-American for outdoor hurdles as well. It really sets her up well for that outdoor championship that's going to occur later this season. But her getting third in the country in that race, that 60-meter hurdles, is just another fantastic achievement for Renaya Jones. And she's just, as we've talked about it before on this program, I mean, she's a real superstar on campus, and one that is kind of just getting started. She's still young. She's a sophomore, I believe, and she's one that is just getting started, and she's going to, I think that her future is just so bright as far as being an Olympian one day potentially, and another trophy for her accomplishments here so far at UCF with third place in the 60-meter hurdles.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the history of track and field at UCF, but I would assume that she has to be one of the top track athletes that we've ever had, in my opinion, because what she's done so far, and she's just a sophomore. She came from Miami Southridge High School a couple of years ago now, but NCAA runner-up last year in the 100 hurdles, first-team All-American outdoor. So she is just tearing it up in track and field. And she was in the Olympic trials and got very close to being in there as well last year. So it's really exciting to have an athlete like that, and that's really, really big for UCF to have an athlete like that. I don't remember that we've ever had one before of that caliber.
We had one runner and we had one 4x4 team. I want to say it was 2017, 2018. That placed really, really well at the NCAAs, but yeah, nothing like this. I mean, and she's getting paid a little bit. She just announced an NIL deal with Mercedes-Benz, so she's also got some national spots going. So, not only does she recently did a video as well with Addition Financial as well, which is one of the big sponsors for our athletics program. So, she's got a great personality. She's just a great representative for UCF, and her athletic prowess just speaks for itself. And when she gets to the outdoors, I feel like she's going to do that much more. So great to have her, great representative for our school and making a name for us in track and field.
Yeah. And once they go to the outdoor championships, essentially, they go to 100-meter hurdles. And I'm not going to pretend to know everything about, the way that she's ran over the last, couple of years. I've watched almost all of her races, but it does seem that she has that kind of second half speed that with the 100 meters, you extend it. I think this third place kind of sets her up really well to potentially which would be unbelievable. Potentially go ahead and take that NCAA championship home in the 100-meter hurdles for the outdoors. So we're going to keep an eye on her here, and it's going to be fun to watch.
All righty. Well, we were going to take another break here real quick, and we'll be right back on Knightline at night. We'll talk a little bit more about that and everything else that's going on in UCF sports.
If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back with you here on Knightline at Night, live from the Denver Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your new Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000. Or come visit me at DeLand Dodge Ram Jeep, and I'll get you taken care of. We're taking your calls on here. If you want to give us a call, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter. And you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. We're talking UCF sports. We've already talked a little bit about men's and women's basketball. Talked a little bit about track and field and Renaya Jones absolutely tearing it up in the 60-meter indoor hurdles. So that was absolutely awesome there doing that. So what else? I guess we'll talk a little bit about baseball and softball now. How about that? Baseball and softball are kicking there at UCF right now. Ben, did you go to a game this week? You've been going to a lot of games.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it to a game this week, but I've certainly kept up with the baseball team, and they had another good week. Right now we're, I believe, 11-5 on the season. We had a loss today. We lost 2-4 to North Florida, and we actually had a double header on Friday because a lot of concerns with the weather on Saturday at John Iliano Park. So they wanted to go ahead and take care of both games on Friday night, as far as the two home games of this series.
And did we split that, or did we? What happened on Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night we split. So just a kind of a rough start. In the first game, we lost 2-10. Just kind of got beat up a little bit early. There's a lot of pass ball score runs, and Litchfield David Litchfield got kind of pushed out of there early, which was a rare thing for him. And then, so we lost that one 2-10. But then in the second game, Connor Stain once again just continues to be very impressive as our second weekend starter. And he actually pitched another gem. He pitched a complete game shutout. So that game was actually over in 7 innings and 4-0 UCF win there. And then today, Hunter Pattinson, who was our ace last year, and he's our kind of day 3 starter on the weekend series this year. He had another great game. He pitched, I believe, about 4 or 5 shutout innings, and then unfortunately, once some relief pitching got in there, it just didn't quite work out for us. Where they were able to put some runs together, and they won 4-2 today against UCF. So we split the game on Friday night, and unfortunately split the doubleheader on Friday night. Unfortunately, lost the game today to, I guess, lose the series to UNF. But overall, still doing very well as a baseball team, 11-5 on the season. And then we go into a midweek matchup with Miami this week, which is at home. So that's going to be a big, spring break for a lot of people this week. So hopefully the John will be filled up there for that midweek matchup with Miami at 6 p.m. on Wednesday night at home. So that's another team that's obviously we always want to beat those in-state baseball teams, and no matter what the sport. So should be a fun midweek game for us here.
Softball doing really well as well. Overall 21-7 at home, 12-3, 4-0 on the road. So they have won, I think, like 4 or 5 in a row now, 6 in a row actually. And against Florida Gulf Coast last week and last weekend, actually 3 games in a row, 2 against Florida Gulf Coast and 1 against Pacific. They were run ruled over in the 5th inning for those guys, and then won a big one against Fresno State 10-2 on Wednesday. So.
Yeah, and they beat Nebraska as well, 7-3. That was their most recent win. So it's always good when we can beat the Cornhuskers. There's a lot of history there, obviously, with Scott F. We'll leave it at that.
Well, that's football.
No, I know, but there's a bad taste in mouth. There's a little bit of a rivalry kind of with Nebraska over all of that. So if we can beat them, great. And actually, what's interesting is with the impending Big 12 move, we're actually 3-0 against the Big 12. They beat Iowa State most recently, which always has a good team, 7-5. So they're not playing an easy schedule. So not only are they winning, but they're winning against tough teams and high RPI teams. So that should bode well for the rest of the season.
They're actually on a 10-win streak. I was not looking at the entire entire schedule, so I was only looking up to March 9th. I didn't even look at the rest of the part. So the Louisville Slugger Invitational, they won some really good games in that. So that was 4 of those. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly say they won their doubleheader yesterday against, as you mentioned, Iowa State, Roger, and then Cal State Fullerton in the second game. And throughout the day, Jada Cody once again continues to shine for this team. She had 3 home runs yesterday. I believe she's already got 37 RBIs on the season. She is just one of the best power hitters we've seen, throughout the years here in softball, and she's just putting on a show. So it's really cool to see some of the power that's coming out of this team, and Jada Cody in particular.
I wish that they would make these rankings and stuff easier to see, because it's so hard to find. You really have to search to find softball rankings and stuff like that. And baseball, the coverage of college baseball and college softball, obviously it's gotten a little bit better with ESPN Plus, because I actually got to watch a little bit of the game Friday night for the baseball team. They were on when I was waiting for the basketball game to start. So I saw a little bit of that, which was cool. But it's so hard to find information on this stuff. They don't really make it easy with those sports. And we're especially with softball, UCF is doing really well. I would just like to know where they're ranked.
Agree with you. I agree with you. I actually just misspoke there. I mean, Jada Cody has 39 RBIs, which actually leads the nation. So yeah, and I just happened to find that in a line in an article. So it's just hard. It's hard to find some of these things sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. They just need to do a little bit better as far as getting that information out personally.
Well, and softball has multiple rankings. So you've got, 3, I believe, major ranking sources for softball. So that makes it even more convoluted.
And what are those rankings there, Roger?
Off the top of my head,
you can't
Softball
bring information
America,
like that out without me asking you right on the spot.
There's Softball America. I don't remember all 3 of them, but there's 3 major ones off the top of my head. Again, I don't remember them, but there's 3 major softball ranking systems. And then, kind of looking at the program as a whole, one of the most successful programs in our entire sports inventory has historically been softball. So we lost our coach, who went back to Iowa, who'd been very, very successful here for many, many, many years. And this is a team that on the regular is either ready for in the NCAA tournament. And, the big thing that held us back for so long was our stadium as far as hosting. There were several opportunities that we would have had to host, but we couldn't host the tournament here because our softball stadium wasn't up to par, didn't have enough seating, etc. So I'm hoping they invest a little bit more in softball, because that program deserves it. In fact, we're going to be hosting Ohio State coming up on Tuesday at 6 p.m. So if you can make it out there to support the ladies against Ohio State, that would be a great thing.
Yeah, I found a couple of these ranking sites, and I don't see that I thought we were ranked. I don't see us in there anywhere. Which is kind of disappointing. On D1softball.com, I don't see it. USA Today coaches poll, we were in there at one point, or we're the first one out. Edging us out was the Cows, believe it or not, which is kind of a bummer of that one. NCAA women's softball RPI. I don't think we're in that one either.
No, UCF lists us as receiving votes, so I think we did drop out.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer for that. We have to be in the RPI. We're at
We dropped out when we're on a 10-game win streak, right?
Yeah,
it just shows you these rankings we complain about football rankings all the time, but the rankings for baseball and softball are just kind of all over the map, because there's just so many different sources that some teams acknowledge, some teams don't. It depends on where they're at in those rankings. It's just weird.
Yeah. So the ESPN one, it says that we dropped out as well, replaced by Louisiana. There's just so many of them, and then I don't know. It must be political or something to get into these rankings. There must be something more that you have to do than actually win games to be in these rankings, because there are teams that have lost a lot more than us that are higher in these rankings than we are, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So,
considering that RPI really isn't an excuse, because the teams that we've played this year have high RPIs. So it's not like we're playing a soft schedule or something like that, which is the other interesting part of it. I will tell you, had we beaten FSU, because we did play them at home and unfortunately got beat pretty handily. If we had beaten FSU, that's really around the time where we were hovering on the rankings. If we had beaten them, I think we'd be in good shape now.
Yeah.
So just real quick, they just a score update since it's not on the actual scheduling website yet for UCF. We just beat Long Beach State on our final game of that tournament out there in California. We just beat them 12-0. So our softball team has now extended their win streak to 11.
There you go.
So they crushed Long Beach State. So really kind of finished that, whatever it was called, Louisville Slugger Classic in style. So another great accomplishment.
Do you know if we were in the final of that, or was this just, like a random?
I'm not sure if it was a
tournament thing. Or?
Yeah, it might have been more so like a kind of a classic, where the kind of round robin style. But I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I will say, since you mentioned the Cows, we do play them on March 25th, 26th, and 27th. So they're coming up as well. So that'll be an opportunity, if they're still ranked, to be able to knock them off their pedestal. And then immediately thereafter, we'll be playing against Florida. So, there's some opportunities coming up on our schedule to kind of throw our weight around a little bit and get back in those rankings.
Any football news from anybody this week? Unfortunately, some kind of bad news as far as you heard it on the news here earlier. The journalist that was actually Brent Renaud, that was in Ukraine. Yes, thank you. But he was the producer or director of ESPN's Our Time UCF Football, and that's kind of a bummer. Obviously, a lot of people tweeting about that. And I guess unfortunately, that's sometimes when you're a wartime journalist, that's kind of the spot you're putting yourself in. So, Unfortunately for him, that's kind of a bummer. All right, we will be back on Knightline at Night right after this.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry, because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong. Spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated. Because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with you. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. We have come to the time in our show where it is time for the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. So let's get to that. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, as you all know, I am a huge Tijuana Flats fan and go there probably once a week. Went there just earlier this week, and it was awesome as always. Always enjoy the hot sauce bar there. So that is where our hot take of the week comes from. So, Roger, why don't you start us off?
All right, so I enjoy that hot sauce bar myself, and it is Fuego. So for my Tijuana Flats hot take of the week, I'm going to say that the UCF softball team not only makes a super regional, but wins a super regional for the first time in program history.
All righty, Ben?
I'm going to go a little bit more immediate with softball and baseball. They both have midweek games that are pretty big against top opponents, with Tuesday for softball against Ohio State, and then Wednesday against Miami for baseball. I'm going to say that both of those teams are going to be victorious in those games, and so we're going to get some big midweek wins for both softball and baseball this week.
All righty, sounds good. I am going to go with women's basketball, since we're going into the March Madness and the NCAA tournament there. I am going to say that they go at least 2 rounds into it, so at least 2 games into the tournament, at least. Hopefully more, but at least 2. So that would be great for them, and hopefully it can be against somebody from the Big 12. I would love to have a win in this tournament against somebody from the Big 12. Women's basketball in the Big 12 isn't nearly what men's basketball is in the Big 12, so I think we're set up pretty good to go into that if we keep this going with the women's program. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, top heavy for the women's basketball in the Big 12, which is not unlike the country for women's basketball. But certainly Baylor is a big powerhouse in the Big 12, and it would be very interesting because Baylor's more than likely going to be a 2 seed. That if we get a matchup with them in the second round and we're able to knock them off to make the Sweet 16, it would just be incredible, especially against a team like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that they're not good top to bottom or anything like that, because I obviously know about Baylor, but I just don't think it's as deep as the men's division.
It's not.
Yeah. So
definitely not.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I'm saying if they can play Baylor in the second round and get the win, that would be huge.
That would just be ideal. I don't even know if it's possible. We'll see later on this evening, I guess, where those brackets line up and if it's even possible. So
as long as we avoid South Carolina this year, I'll be a happy camper.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, if they get one win, that's the first time the women's program has ever won an NCAA tournament game. So go make history, ladies.